Hey everybody, Bill Harper, Brand Boss HQ. Welcome back to part 3 of our series on building true brand differentiation. If you've been following along, you've already uncovered your biggest threat and explored the brain science behind attention, as well as starting to craft strategies to make your brand stand out. But if you haven't seen parts 1 and 2 yet, I highly recommend checking them out first, because in them we laid the foundation to get here, and you don't want to miss any of that before moving forward. In this final part, we're going to break down what happens when you get brand differentiation right. And as a bonus, I'll show you how to create the perfect tagline, something simple but powerful that encapsulates everything your brand stands for. So by the end of today's session, you'll have everything you need to position your brand for success. Let's go ahead and jump in. All right, section 6, 3 steps to begin your differentiation today. So far you've learned the why behind differentiation. Now it's time to talk about the how, because real brand differentiation isn't a mystery. It's not a $1 million rebrand, and it's not a clever tagline or a fancy photo shoot. It's a series of strategic decisions starting with clarity, belief, and bravery. So let's break it down into 3 foundational steps you can begin today. No agency required, no 12-week timeline, no excuses, just clear, immediate action. Number 1, define your purpose, your internal rallying cry. All right, before you think about your tagline, your website, or your social content, you need to answer the one question most brands never, ever, ever ask clearly. Why do we exist beyond making money? What is your belief about the world? What change do you want to create for your customer or your industry? How are you changing your target audience's emotional state or situational state for the better? This is your internal rallying cry. It should guide everything you build and say and sell and share. And let me be clear, it is not a mission statement in some dusty handbook. People can't relate to mission statements. Frankly, I think people should do away with them. They're useless. It is a living, breathing directive for your team and your decision making. And this leads to the BHAG approach. If you're not familiar with what a BHAG is, it's a big, hairy, audacious goal. It's a goal that is bold, it's inspiring, it may not even be fully achievable. Listen, lots of category leading brands, Nike, Disney, Apple, the rest of them, use purpose statements that represent ideas that can't ever be reached. But the thing that's critical is that whatever you choose, it gives you direction and alignment. So let's look at a couple of iconic examples. Nike is one of my favorite, to release people's inner athlete. That has nothing to do with shoes. It's about unlocking human potential, and it speaks to elite athletes and everyday people trying to better themselves. That's the power of that. And I think that it's important to recognize that this is one of those BHAGs that isn't necessarily attainable. To release people's inner athlete is an amazingly aspirational goal, right? You can't just reach into somebody's life and release their inner athlete. There are a million barriers between that. But the brand knows that if it strives to hit that level of engagement with its customers, no matter what, they will always be relevant to them. And that's what that's all about. On the flip side, Disney exists to recapture the magic of childhood. It's not about cartoons or rides. It's about the wonder and innocence and joy of childhood. And it's a promise that every employee and product is expected to uphold. It's important again to note that this is another example of a BHAG that can't be reached. Can you actually recapture the magic of childhood? No, you can't walk into somebody's life and do that. But when you set the bar that high, when you say we exist to release people's inner athlete, we exist to recapture the magic of childhood, those sentences are so clear and so simple and so direct that it makes it easy for the entire team to understand, to remember, to relate to, and to be proactive in bringing to life. And that is the essence of what a purpose statement does for a business. It aligns its people, it keeps them focused on the goal, it keeps them punching as high as they can towards a goal that can never really be reached, but can always be attained a little more. You can always get one step closer to it. And that gives people a sense of purpose and excitement about what they're doing. All right, so how can you write one for your company? Let's start by using this format. We exist to do something powerful for someone specific who believes something important or faces something frustrating. Here are some examples. We exist to help first-time founders build brands that feel as big as their ambition. Or we exist to bring clarity to people who feel invisible in their category. Or we exist to give bold brands the language they need to lead movements not just markets. A good purpose statement should anchor your decisions. It should fire up your team. It should filter your messaging, and it should outlast any tactic or trend that you have ever. Remember, this is for you, but it fuels everything your customer sees. Now, this is the internal rallying cry. There's also an external rallying cry that we're going to get to in a few minutes. So it's important to understand that the job of this purpose statement is internal. That's why we think about it as the internal rallying cry. Its design is not for the outside group directly, but every single thing that the purpose statement drives toward is for the benefit of our customer. Step 2, turn description into story. And here's where most brands go wrong. They describe themselves with facts. We've been in business 50 years. We are a full-service agency. We help businesses grow with tailored solutions, blah, blah, blah. And all that's probably technically true, but it's also emotionally flat. Facts are informational. Stories are emotional and engaging and transformational. And people don't buy information, they buy narrative. So here's what story does that description never will. It creates emotional context and engagement. It builds trust without asking for it because they can see what you stand for. It lets the customer see themselves in your journey, and it gives your brand character, not just capability. Remember, your audience isn't looking for what you do. That's regurgitating, the definition of the company, and they already know that coming up to you. What they're looking for is what you stand for and why it matters to you. And when what you stand for aligns with what they stand for, that's when the magic happens. Next, flip the script. Let's say your homepage currently says something like, "We offer scalable growth strategies for startups and enterprise clients across multiple verticals." Now let's try something like this instead. "We make brands iconic through strategic storytelling." Radically different, and I'm sure that you can see the difference. One of them is a description or a pitch. The other is a purpose-driven story. Next, use this 3-part brand story framework. Number 1, the enemy. What broken assumption are you here to challenge? What thing are they struggling against that you can say you're against also? That alignment is critical for your success. Number 2, belief. What do you believe into your core that is shared by all of your team? If you don't know, you need to establish that and make sure that every single person on your team is in alignment with that belief set, because that's how they're going to be proactive in a positive way, and that's how they're going to represent the brand the way you want them to. Number 3, transformation. What happens when people choose you, right? An example might be, we help brands go from commodity to category leader by becoming the most interesting in their space. Don't just describe what you do. Tell the story of why it matters and what they get from it. And step 3, get sharply specific about who you serve. This is where most brands lose the plot completely. They try to cast way too wide a net. We work with everyone with a wallet. We serve businesses of all sizes. We help anyone who needs some vague thing, whatever. That's not inclusivity. That's indecision. If your message speaks to everyone, it connects with no one. We can't repeat this enough. The sharper your focus, the stronger your resonance. Who do you really serve? Ask yourself, who gets the best results from what you offer? Not just a result, not just a good result. Who gets the best results from what you serve? Who loves the way you work? Who really respects your process? Who is super interested in going through it with you? Who is naturally aligned with your voice, your belief, and your process? Stop chasing the market. Start magnetizing the people that you were built to serve. And use these 3 lenses to define your audience. Number 1, stage of growth. We work with companies between 1 and 10 million who are ready to scale but feel stuck in generic messaging. That's specific. You know exactly what kind of companies, between what range, who feel a certain way. 2, mindset or behavior. We work with founders who want to leave movements, not just sell products. Oh, I want that. I want to be a change agent. I want to drive some kind of significant involvement. I don't just want to worry about how many units I sold. For groups that see the world that way, how many units they sold is just how they keep score. 3rd could be worldview or frustration. We serve business owners who feel like their competitors are getting chosen despite having worse offers. You can't earn deep relevance without sharp specificity. Your goal isn't to reach everyone, it's to resonate with the right audience. And here's a pro tip. Create a not for us filter. The best brands aren't afraid to repel the wrong people. So ask yourself, who is not a good fit for what we do, and write it down. What mindsets do we avoid, and write it down. What problems are we not here to solve? That clarity helps your team qualify leads, your marketing stay focused, your customers feel sane and safe. And I'll tell you another thing that it does. It tells your team that you're not just chasing dollars, and that makes them feel proud, because what's going to happen internally is they're going to say, we know that that's going to be a problem client, but we're not just willing to take the dollars, so we're going to say no to them. And that gives your team pride, and pride is a great way to begin building culture. And here's the thing to remember. When your brand finally says the thing that your target audience has been waiting to hear, they don't hesitate. They jump. Final thought for this. You don't have to wait for a perfect plan to become more differentiated. You just have to start showing up with more clarity, more courage, and more conviction. And it begins with these steps. Define your purpose, the internal rallying cry that guides everything. Tell your story so people remember what makes you different. And finally, speak to someone specific so you stop blending in and you start owning one segment of the marketplace. In the next section, we're going to zoom back out again and show you what happens when you get this right. Because once you start building your brand on purpose, the impact isn't just emotional, it's exponential. So let's take a look. Section 7, what happens when you get differentiation right? So let's talk about what happens on the other side of differentiation, because everything we've covered so far, clarifying the purpose, defining the audience, telling your story, it's not just for creative expression or brand alignment. It's for one reason, and that's to create a brand and a business that works better. Because when you get differentiation right, things don't just feel better, they perform better. Let me show you how. Number 1, sales conversions change completely. When your brand is clearly differentiated, your sales process shifts from persuasion to alignment. And you will quickly realize that if you find yourself persuading anyone or trying to persuade anyone, they are the wrong person to be talking to. Because you might persuade somebody to become a customer, but they will never be a good one, because if they were worried about it in the first place, that worry is going to stay with them the entire time they're with you. Trust me, I speak from experience. Next, you don't have to convince people. They already believe in you by the time they show up, because they've seen your content, they've absorbed your point of view, and they have self-selected before the first meeting. So sales calls become, we already know we want to work with you. Can you help us with this problem? No more justifying your pricing, no more explaining your value from scratch, no more awkward conversations or objections or sideways comparisons. Now sales becomes a sorting process, not a begging process. Number 2, price resistance begins to vanish. So let's talk about money for a second. If you've ever heard, can you match this quote we got from the other guy? Or we're comparing a few options, or we really like you, but we found somebody cheaper. It's a sign your brand isn't differentiated enough, because people don't always pay for the best solution. They pay for the one that feels like the right choice. And when your brand is clear, confident, and emotionally aligned, price becomes secondary. Why? Because they're not buying deliverables. They're buying conviction. They're buying clarity. They're buying a belief system that they want to be a part of. And that kind of alignment, it's priceless. Just look at Apple. Dell, HP, Lenovo, they are all lucky to sell a laptop at $700 or $800. Apple routinely sells them between $2,000 and $3,000. Why? Because people that align with the Apple brand believe that Apple supports their creativity and contribution to the world. Dell, HP, Lenovo, those guys, they're just a tool, like a stapler or a tape dispenser. And that difference means everything. Number 3, referrals turn into evangelism. Here's what happens when people understand what you stand for. They don't just refer to you, they become brand messengers. Instead of saying, oh, yeah, they're great at branding or whatever, they say, you've got to talk to them. They really helped us go from sounding like everybody else in our category to leading it. That's powerful, because now your audience is actually selling for you, and that is a critical component to your ability to scale. And all of this results in bringing in leads that already believe in you and what you do and how you do it. Number 4, you attract the right clients and repel the wrong ones. Differentiation isn't just about helping you stand out, it's about helping you filter in alignment. Once your message is sharp, you stop attracting low intent, high maintenance, wrong fit leads. And you start attracting people who actually respect your pricing, who value your process, who share your mindset, who show up ready to work with you. And that changes the entire energy of your business. You don't have to chase. You don't have to manage drama. You just get to do great work for great people who actually get it. Number 5, your team becomes unified. This is an often overlooked outcome, but when your brand is aligned from the inside out, your team starts speaking with one voice. Sales, marketing, leadership, support, they're no longer interpreting the message differently. Now they're all working together. Now everybody knows what we believe in, who we serve, what makes us different, how we should talk about it. This creates confidence internally. It empowers every department. It reduces friction, and it makes training new team members dramatically easier. Number 6, decision-making gets way, way easier. Differentiation becomes a decision filter. You no longer debate endlessly about what to post or what services to offer or what leads to chase or what partnerships to pursue. Instead, we wind up asking, does this align with our beliefs? Would our audience actually care about this? Is this on brand for what we stand for or off brand? And if not, the answer is easy. Don't do it. That kind of clarity saves you time and lots of it, and it protects your focus so you can scale faster with less chaos. Number 7, your offer gets sharper and more effective. When your message is clear, your offers stop trying to do everything for everyone. You stop selling services and you start selling transformations, the ones built around the real frustrations and desires of your ideal clients. That means less confusion, more conversions, fewer "let me think about it," and more "oh, you read my mind" moments. Because you're no longer presenting what you do, you're presenting what they want in their language. And that's the difference between a price tag and a premium. All right, let's take a quick look at before versus after differentiation. And let's zoom out to make sure that this is crystal clear. Before differentiation, you have confusing messaging. After, you have magnetic clarity. Before, you have generic offers. After, you have purpose-built programs. Before, you have price pressure. After, you have premium positioning. Before is long sales cycles. After is pre-sold leads. Before is fragmented team voice. After is unified belief system. Before is wasted ad spend. And after is word of mouth that scales. This is what happens when your brand starts working with you, not against you. Final thoughts on this: you don't need more effort. In fact, no business needs more effort. What you need is more clarity that works more efficiently. Because once your brand becomes undeniably you, you stop chasing, you stop explaining, you stop competing on noise. You start attracting, you start converting, and you start leading. Section 8. Creating the right tagline, your external rallying cry. So we've talked about building your brand from the inside out. Your purpose, which is your internal rallying cry, your story, which is your emotional connector, your audience, which is who you serve best, your belief, which is what you stand for. Now it's time to give all that clarity a banner that the world can rally behind. And that's what your tagline is for. Your tagline is not just a catchy phrase. Please, it is not just a catchy phrase. It is a strategic signal, a shortcut to what you believe, a line people can remember, repeat, and believe in because it represents what your brand stands for. So let's break down what makes a great one and how you can create yours. What a tagline really is. Your tagline is your external rallying cry. It should communicate what you stand for, what someone can expect from you, why it matters emotionally, and what sets you apart. It's what you wave in the market to say, hey, this is who we are, and if you believe this too, come on, you belong over here. And the absolute best taglines do it in 5 to 7 unforgettable word sets. All right, internal rallying cry versus external rallying cry. I just want to do a quick reminder of the difference. Your internal rallying cry, your purpose statement, is designed to guide your team, your decisions, and your actions. It's the measuring stick that you use internally. Your external rallying cry, your tagline, invites your audience into your belief set. All right, so a quick example. Nike, as you'll remember, their purpose to release people's inner athlete, their tagline, just do it. See the difference? The internal team is all about releasing people's inner athlete. Everything we do has to help people be one step more athletic than they were the day before it. The tagline is just do it. If you'll just do it, we'll make you better today than you were yesterday and better again tomorrow than you are today. See the difference? The tagline doesn't explain, it activates. And that's exactly what we're after. All right, 2 powerful tagline styles that work. Almost every great tagline falls into one of 2 styles. Number 1, the directive tagline. This is an action-oriented, motivational, and bold approach. It speaks directly to the customer like a challenge or a mantra. Examples are Nike's Just Do It, which we just talked about, Apple's Think Different, MailChimp's Send Better Email, or REI's Opt Outside. These taglines tell your audience what to do or how to be. They are all aligned with your deeper belief set, which you share with them. Use this if your brand is all about transformation or empowerment or momentum. The second is the promise tagline. This is the one that sets an emotional expectation or paints a picture of what life will be like with your brand. An example, Disney, the happiest place on earth. Airbnb, belong anywhere. Basecamp, work doesn't have to be crazy. Or Allbirds, the world's most comfortable shoe. Use this if your brand is all about experience, emotion, or identity, because these taglines work by anchoring to a feeling your audience already wants. All right, how to know if your tagline works? Run your tagline through this quick 5-point test. Test 1, emotion. Does it make someone feel something? 2, alignment. Does it reflect your deeper inner beliefs as a company? 3, simplicity. Is it easy to repeat, easy to remember, easy to say? 4, portability. Could it live on a shirt, an ad, or a homepage easily? And 5, uniqueness. Does a competitor say the same thing? Because if yes, go rewrite it. Your tagline's not right yet. If your tagline hits at least 4 out of 5, you're in great shape. All right, so let's talk about how you can build a tagline with these prompts, because if you're stuck, I want you to use these fill-in-a-blank formats to help get you started. All right, so directive tagline starters. We could start with something like what Nike uses, just blank, or make blank better, or own your blank, or it's time to blank, or don't just blank, blank. Promise tagline starters, where blank becomes blank, or built for people who blank, or the emotional way to blank. Right? Any one of these will get you started. Now, are they the sexiest starters in the whole wide world? No. But if you're stuck, it's a great place to begin until you get familiar with the structure enough that you feel that you can conquer the question. Here's an example, just helping a little bit. Turning a generic into a strategic. Let's say that you're a gym owner and your current tagline is helping people get fit for life. Yeah, okay, that's fine, but it could also be anybody. Let's try some reframes. As a directive, we could say something like, get fit, stay fit, or become someone's inspiration, or leave your old self behind. Or as a promise, we could say something like, where the best bodies are made, or where people come to love their reflection again, or something like that. See the shift? It's the same intent, it's just entirely different in terms of its emotional connection. All right, here are a few real-world breakdowns just to help you get all this in line. Nike's Just Do It is, of course, a directive. Disney's The Happiest Place on Earth is a promise. Liquid Death uses a directive with Murder Your Thirst. Basecamp uses a promise with work doesn't have to be crazy. Slack uses a promise with where work happens. And Apple uses a directive of think different. Now, none of these explains everything about the brand, but what they do is spark something emotional. That's the job. They remind people what the brand stands for and why they should care. And that's exactly what you want your tagline to do. All right, final writing tips. Say it out loud, because if it sounds and feels awkward, it's never going to stick, so don't stay with it. Write down 20 options, because the gold usually comes well after round 1. I mean, agencies that do this spend weeks building these word sets to be exactly the right combination. Don't be frustrated if it takes you a while to get it just right. Don't try to be clever, be clear. Once you're clear, you may find a path to clever, but clever as the lead is in the wrong spot. Clarity is what you're after. And imagine it on a billboard. Would you look twice? Would it make sense instantly? Because if it doesn't, you're still not there yet. Go back to the drawing board. And remember, a tagline is not where you get smart. It's where you get sticky, right? Strategy is where you're smart. The tagline's design is to help people remember why to care in the first place. A final thought, don't think about taglines as a slogan. Think about them as sharing what you stand for in 6 words or less. It doesn't need to say everything. It just needs to say the one thing that makes your target audience think, hell yeah, those people get it and I want to work with them. Because if someone can remember you in one line, they're 1,000 times more likely to use you, work with you, and repeat you to their friends. Section 9, call to action. First off, you've made it. You made it to the end, and that means something because most people, they never finish things. They don't do the work. They don't pause to ask, why isn't this working? But you did. You took the time to look at what's broken, you've explored how to fix it, you've seen the proof, and you've learned the steps to building a brand that will finally work the way it's supposed to. So let's land with this clarity. All right, so let's recap everything that you've learned today. You learned how the commodity trap quietly erodes your pricing, power, marketing performance, and audience engagement. 2, you saw how most brands blend in by accident through safe decisions that slowly strip away their edge. You've learned how the brain filters information and why brands that don't trigger attention are never chosen no matter how good they are. You saw that differentiation isn't about design, it's strategic, belief-driven, clarity. That's what drives everything forward. You saw proof. Brands like Liquid Death, Dollar Shave Club, Basecamp, and others that used belief and bravery to create magnetic brands in crowded categories. And 6, you were given a roadmap to define your internal rallying cry, to tell your story, to speak to someone specific, to build a memorable tagline, and you saw what happens when you do. Sales become smoother, price objections fade, referrals increase, teams unify, and marketing finally lands. You've only got 2 options now. Option 1, go back to business as usual. Keep using safe language. Keep waiting for leads. Keep wondering why you're not standing out. And there's no shame in that, but just know what comes from going down that path. Frustration, flat growth, price pressure, misaligned clients, and burnout. Or option 2, you step forward on purpose. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have every word figured out. You just need to start showing up as the clearest, boldest, truest version of your brand. Right now, where you are with what you've got, start messy, start small, start real, because clarity creates momentum and momentum changes everything. So here are 5 things that you can do starting today. Let's get practical. Number 1, audit your sales and marketing. Do they reflect your beliefs or just describe your business, product, or service? Could a competitor say it word for word, and are they? And would your ideal customer feel something in the first 10 seconds? Number 2, bring it to life. Rewrite your website copy. Rewrite your print advertising or your radio spot or your LinkedIn headline or your sales presentation or your email signature. Add your rallying cry. Lead with who you help, why you're different, or what you believe in. 3, schedule a team meeting. Make sure to share your purpose statement. Ask, does this feel true? Does this feel brave enough? Get them involved. The more involved they are, the more that they're going to pick up the mantle and help you bring it to life. And align everyone around one single message. Number 4, write at least 10 tagline drafts. Play with both promise and directive structures, say them out loud, and ultimately pick the one that feels stickiest and then go test the hell out of it. 5, stop marketing until you clarify your messaging. I know, seriously though, don't spend another dime trying to promote something that's not clear, different, or aligned. Just pause for a minute, get it right, and then press play again with confidence. Believe me, you'll be happy that you did. And here's what clients tell me after they've made this shift. After doing the work, I hear things like, our best fit clients are now finding us, or we raised our prices and people didn't even flinch, or I finally feel proud to send someone to our website, or sales calls feel like mutual interviews, not interrogations, or our team finally sounds like one brand, not several voices. That's what happens when your brand stops being vague and starts being built on purpose. All right, final thoughts. Most brands don't fail because they're bad. They fail because they're forgettable. The brands that win, they know who they are, they say what they believe, they speak with clarity, and they stand out because they stand for something. So don't just be better. Be braver, be sharper, be undeniably you, because in an overcrowded, overcommunicated, overcomplicated world, the most valuable thing you can be is clear, and the most powerful move you can make is to be chosen on purpose. Many of you are going to see this, and you're going to be off to the races. This is going to be that missing piece to the puzzle that you've been looking for. It's going to click into place, and you're going to be off and going. But for some of you, this is still going to seem either overwhelming or daunting, or you just don't have the bandwidth, or you need a partner to help rally all of your people around this so that you can quickly move it through. If you're ready to take the next step from clarity to category leader, let's talk. This is the work my team and I do every single day with growth-minded brands who are ready to lead. And together we can build a message and a campaign that magnetizes the right people, repels the wrong ones, and makes you a standout in the category. Now, believe me when I say we have done this for more than 500 businesses. This is an opportunity every business can take advantage of in every category, anywhere in the world. There is always an opportunity, always a strategy, always a way that you can differentiate yourself in a meaningful, relevant way to your target audience. You just need to sit down and go through the process of identifying it so that everything ladders up in the right manner. Whether you are looking for help or not, I want to take a moment to just say thank you. Thank you for your time. I know that it is precious. You don't have a lot of it, and I sincerely hope that the time you have spent watching this helps your business move forward in a productive and explosive way. Always remember, be interesting or be ignored. I'll see you next time. And that wraps up our series on brand differentiation. You now have a deeper understanding of how to break free from the commodity trap and craft a brand strategy that truly sets your business apart. Remember, differentiation's a journey. It's not a one-time fix. Keep refining and applying what you've learned here to keep your brand top of mind and ahead of your competition. Now go on out there and build a brand that truly stands out. Know that we're always here to answer questions if you need additional help.